Hey everyone, welcome to the beautiful island of Oahu, Hawaii, where I'll be spending the next 2 weeks celebrating my brother-in-law's graduation. It was a 12-hour flight from Orlando, and even though I hate flying, I'm glad I got over it and made this trip. This place is paradise and truly a photographer's heaven. I brought some of my camera gear with me in hopes of taking some nice portraits of family members who are moving off the island in a few weeks. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at some of the gear that I'll be hiking with. For the natural light images, I'll be using a PhotoFlex light panel with half white and half soft gold fabric. It's big yet very lightweight and very versatile. For the strobed images, I'll be using a PhotoFlex Flex Flash 400 watt strobe with a small PhotoFlex octadome. I'll mount these on the Light Reach Plus, which should make carrying this setup on hikes a breeze. We started our hike to our first location, the Kaneakapuku Ruins, which was the summer home of King Kamehameha. I was lucky enough to have a local photographer that I met at Creative Live come with me on the hike to assist me. The mosquitoes were out in full force on this day, so we worked quickly to take a few shots since it looked like it was going to rain that afternoon. I found this area with a path and bamboo on each side and set up my light panel to kick some nice, warm light back at my subject. It filled in the shadows on his face nicely, and the two-tone fabric gave him a nice skin tone that you typically wouldn't get from using a silver side or gold side reflector on its own. Here's the image I finally decided on with my camera settings below. The light panel helped me get a nice exposure in a situation where the lighting was changing rapidly. The mosquitoes started to get the best of us, and I started to get tired of waiting for the sun to peek out, so I quickly set up my strobe and octadome. I'm triggering these using the Pocket Wizard Plus 3 units and powering the lights with a small portable battery pack. With that all set up, we continued firing off a few shots. I had to adjust my shutter speed frequently to keep up with the changing ambient light. I finally settled on this image of him. I was shocked at how even the lighting was from the smaller modifier. It was just perfect to use in a situation where the natural light was eluding me. Next up, we drove to the Pali Lookout. The scenery here was just epic. There were a lot of tourists here and very high wind gusts that made it hard to walk, but we settled on a small road that would give me a view of the background and started shooting. First things first, I used the light meter in my camera to see what the ambient exposure should be. I tried several settings, but I personally like the look that these settings gave the background. I didn't mention this, but earlier in the day, my model and brother-in-law had a few cavities filled, and earlier in the week had broken a toe on one foot and received a deep gash on his other knee, so needless to say, he wasn't really feeling great. I wanted to work quick so we could carry on with our day, and shooting with strobes really made the difference. Here's our final image. After a few hours rest, Matt decided he was in too much pain to model, so one of my cousins decided to step in and assume modeling duties. She's an avid surfer and really wanted a portrait with her surfboard. We found an area of this park where she could be backlit by the sun, and I used the same strobe setup that I've been using for the entire trip to light her from the front. I also used a 0.9 ND filter from Koken in this shot to help me to achieve the right exposure. After hiking several miles that day, I would really encourage you to bring some of these excellent light shaping and creating tools with you on your own family vacations. It will really increase the chances that you come home with some really excellent portraits that you and your friends or family would be happy to share. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share, comment, and subscribe.